Hi everyone, this is Cyrus for iPhoneAppsFinder.com and iPhoneist.com. Today I'm showing you Kodiak PHP. Those of you who know programming or have done web development or web design in the past know that PHP is one of the programming languages that you need to be familiar with. If you know WordPress, and a lot of websites are using WordPress and webmasters rely on it, that's based on PHP, so it's a very nice skill to have. You don't always need to have a computer, like a regular computer, to run PHP code. You just need the right client for your iOS device. And Kodiak PHP is, to be honest, one of the best that we've seen and we've tested. It doesn't crash. It has everything you need in a PHP application. It has a awesome code editor. It has file management. It has sample codes that you can go through. It has navigation keys so you can type your documents and your code. So when you get it started, you have a list of files that you have. For instance, you have examples that you can use. You have this program that I wrote, test.php. It's a very simple program, not the best structure for the code. It's just a simple test that I was doing. So you have the keys at the top that you can type your symbols. Let's say you want to say plus sign, minus sign, $sign for variables. You want to write the function. You have the color coding, syntax highlighting, which is very important if you're coding. It really comes handy. The PHP interpreter is offline, unlike some of the other apps that we've seen that they have some crazy schemes that if you compile more than 50 apps, you have to pay another $1.99. I've seen those approaches in the past. I'm not sure exactly that's friendly towards users, but this application, you just say run, you run it, you can see the big version. Now the fun part is, first of all, you have the tabs. You can see the tabs. So that's very simple. So you can have multiple tabs open for files, which is usually the case. Whether you're dealing with WordPress or other applications, you usually have multiple files that you're working on and testing. You can see, go through the files and folders that you have, the dates, the sizes, the last time you changed. The output is important because it shows you some of the things you've done in the past. Let's take a look at this one. So I wrote this code, and by mistake I had one of the letters capitalized, so it wasn't recognized in the code, and it gave me an error. It says undefined. There were actually two of them. So undefined variable x and y line. So you have all the information to go back to your code and fix it. And it's nice to know you have this. So in the future, if you have the same mistake, now this is a very simple, silly mistake, but if you're dealing with a sophisticated application with sophisticated functions and methods, and you have a mistake that you keep making in your code, this way you can keep track of it, which is very nice. Everything is customizable. You can add a new file if you like, add a new folder to organize your files. Examples. You want to get PHP info. Everyone who's run a website is familiar with that. This is where you get your information on your PHP. If you do especially PHP optimization, this is the code that you put on your website. Very simple to do. So you see these at the top, they're open. I can close them if I like. Let's just try this one. So just outputting HTML. There you go. You see it's bold, so you have the header line, you have the paragraph. So you have the bold HTML output bold. Let's see some of the other examples. Let's say you want to do a MySQL statement you have, then you're connecting to a database. Obviously, I haven't done anything. I but you see the functions, you see the variables. It's very easy to go through. So what you get, as you can see here, and there are a lot of more stuff that you can go through and see all this stuff that's available. What I would like to take away from this is Kodiak PHP has a bunch of features that you need for coding. Whether you're practicing coding or just testing your code, you get a file editor to organize and manage your files. You add files and folders that I showed you. You get a file tracker, which shows you the changes, sizes of your files, the latest files that you've created on your iPad. So keep track of that as well, which is very handy, especially if you're working over multiple days and you want to keep track of what you've done. You do have multiple themes to choose from, so you can customize and personalize, if you will, your working environment, your coding environment. So I actually like the darkest one better because I usually code at night and I turn the lights off sometimes because it's 2, 3 in the morning. I do WordPress programming, so I have to deal with PHP a lot, also with JavaScript and HTML and things like that, plugins, themes, you name it, MySQL. But you can choose different ones. Whatever works for you, and you can change the font, you can change the font size. As far as folder goes, let's just say test 3. So here, if you want to type something, you have these keys at the top, if you will, and each of them have five. These have 5 signs. The way you use it is you hold and then you go to the direction of the symbol that you want to type, and that's how it works. I personally prefer using a keyboard for coding. It's much easier. I like the approach here based on what you have, and your iPad has a limited small screen. I work with a 30-inch monitor and a Bluetooth keyboard. That's easier, but this is doable, especially if you're on the go and you don't have access to a keyboard, you don't have access to a monitor. This has you covered. I think I've pretty much covered everything that this application has to offer as far as a summary. So you have navigation keys, you have the editor, you have the file manager, you can open multiple files, you have the examples and demos that I showed you, and you won't get stuck in an info loop, which is nice. So you can stop the run and go back and fix your code. You get errors, and you don't need an internet connection to use this. Pretty awesome application. I do like the fact that it doesn't crash and it's very responsive. Some of the apps that we've tested in this category, they crash, especially if you have an issue in your code. For some reason, they crash. When you're navigating from one folder to another, they crash. This one does not. So very important, very customizable, copy, paste, everything you need to do to take care of your projects. You want to select multiple ones. If you want to delete them, you want to upload them, send them to other applications. Let's say I want to send this one to the other app, and you can do it. You can delete it. You can move it. I don't even remember where I sent it, but there you go. So you get the point. Kodiak PHP for PHP programming. I hope you enjoyed this short review. We are going to put a more complete tips and tricks for this particular application, and also its brother, if you will. There's one for JavaScript, a similar approach just for JavaScript. So we're going to do that for tips and tricks for these two applications. But if you want to try PHP and you don't have access to a computer and you want to try your code on the road, Kodiak PHP is worth checking out. Thanks again for watching. For more information, please go to iPhoneAppsFinder.com and iPhoneNest.com. Thanks, guys.